Okay. Thank you very much. I'm Jad Sylvester. This is Penny Fuller. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to present our project, Froebel Carlton, today. The project is located on the fringe of the Melbourne CBD in Carlton on Wurundjeri land. And the project is a tenancy fit out within the Melbourne Connect campus, which has been designed by Woods Bagot. Interestingly, Melbourne Connect is an innovation hub, and it's focused on science and education. And the childcare component provides a valuable support amenity for the many tenants within the project, as well as the neighbouring homes and businesses. The sustainability and innovation focus of the precinct also align with Froebel's STEM education priority, and as an operator of an ethical and not-for-profit childcare provider, also with a desire to connect children to the outside world at an early age. So we'd just like to run through an overview of the design first before we share some details. The project contains spaces for children, as well as dedicated educator spaces and parent spaces. Providing the project identity is a latticework super ceiling, which builds upon a design language we've developed with Froebel on a previous project, and extends this identity into this one. The latticework performs a number of functions, including a division of space, storage, wrapping of columns, and screening of building services. The internal play spaces are complemented by protected outdoor spaces, permanently naturally ventilated via the perforated metal base building facade. And the project has been a collaboration between Silvester Fuller and Openwork, who were the landscape architects for the project. Just turning quickly to the existing building, in addition to our design ambition for the project, the concept was guided by the opportunities and many constraints within the spaces we were working within. These images are on handover day, when the building was handed over from the building developer lend lease to our client and the tenancy fit out builder MPA. These constraints that we had to manage during the design process included base building services that extended into the tenancy fit out zone and beneath the timber structure and could not be modified, as well as a hybrid timber and steel building structure, which disappeared into the base building core. And then sitting atop the building was a large unprotected open to sky rooftop with strict load limitations that restricted the placement of landscape and play structures in the outdoor play area on the roof.
So how do we insert a childcare centre into these spaces? The project occupies 4 levels within the northwest building of the campus, but we'll focus on 2 primary floors to describe the planning strategy. So our task was to locate both indoor and covered outdoor space on these levels. And the base building has a complex geometry and it's interrupted by 2 cores. So our strategy was to work out from the orthogonal geometries, locating primary play spaces first, secondary play spaces to the north, wet areas between, and support spaces as required. And this set up a structured internal sequence of spaces. So consequently, the outdoor areas created are meandering in between space left between the internal closure line and the external facade line. So with that planning strategy in place, we then look to the interior identity. So as Jad mentioned, we have done a centre before for Froebel, and the Froebel teaching philosophy is based on 10 gifts, lessons that build upon each other, and the gifts are created using primary geometries, and they're really beautifully crafted. And we used that as the basis for the fit out concept previously developed for Froebel, and recognised the opportunity to develop this design language further. Based on these ideas, for the previous centre, we developed freestanding objects within the existing space, and they performed multiple functions. These objects were shaped from an orthogonal grid and were the established visual identity for that centre. So the fundamentals have been carried through and refined at Froebel Carlton. The freestanding objects morph into elevated structures and a super ceiling, creating a related yet unique response for this centre. The ceiling identifies the primary play spaces. It partially screens the building services and it improves the acoustic performance of the spaces. In selected locations, the ceiling descends to create spatial division, storage, and defines the portal entries to the adjacent spaces. The ceiling lattice varies in density. It's concentrated around the vertical springing points and more open toward the edges of the spaces. The ceiling is located intentionally at a low 2.4 metres. It compresses the spatial volume down to a scale more suited to the children and meets a lower datum of joinery that extends up from the soft grey floor. A variety of secondary play spaces are provided. They are smaller in size and coloured for identification. They support more specific activities such as reading, craft and science programs. There's also a commercial kitchen and dining room with a focus not just on consumption, but also the act of creating meals together. Prioritising health and wellness was a core design principle, and whilst ensuring the spaces do not feel clinical, the use of antimicrobial surfaces, such as the untreated brass tapware and handles, was one of the many early decisions made in support of a clean and healthy environment for the children and educators. The internal play spaces connect directly to the protected outdoor spaces as needed, extending the available teaching area whilst ensuring high levels of visibility for the educators. While the rooftop play serves to provide access to direct sunlight and views to the precinct and the neighbouring community, with a natural landscape yet to fully take hold, as you can see in the picture here.
1 minute remaining.
Thank you. Spaces are also provided for parents and educators, recognising the need to support their health and well-being.
So like many projects last year, Froebel Carlton was constructed during lockdown 2021. We were unable to visit the site throughout construction and relied wholly on our builder MPA and occasional site visits by Openwork when permitted, who completed and shared virtual tours with us of the site progress. And for their support, we need to say a big thank you. Finally, the centre is Australia's first vertical early learning centre located within a hybrid engineered timber building. And we believe it can serve as an example of this topology for the future of early learning centres in dense urban environments. Thank you.
Thanks.